If you like exclusive video, boy howdy do I got a deal for you. If you join today on my Patreon and Subscribestar, you are going to get access to this month's new exclusive video coming up this Friday about the OG pervy artist himself, Robert Crumb. And now on with the video, of course. What's good, people? Agent Jules reporting for duty. Who here has seen or even heard of the anime Flint the Time Detective? Probably not a lot of you, and I don't mean that in a hipster way of like, it's so obscure, you probably heard of it. I'm just saying, like, I don't think many people watched it. What I want to talk about, however, is that anime has a villain, and that villain's name is Petra Fina Dagmar.
Stop poking the royal tit, dear.
Of all the characters that I've been showing my OC Velicia cosplaying as, she, I think, is the most like Velicia out of any of the characters so far. Without further ado, let's go ahead and buckle into our favorite ship that's cat-themed. Let's go chase around a bunch of children through time. Let's take a stamp and start stamping these little time Pokemon to make them evil for reasons. And we might as well stamp the like button too, so we can make the like button evil for reasons. And let's go ahead and talk about this obscure little thing and why I'm even using it for my own OC. So of course, let's start out about talking about the speed paint of Velicia, my OC, from my cartoon SCHNEEEVIL, dressing up as another villainess, which is, like I said, Petra Fina Dagmar, in order for me to glean from either the show or the villainess herself and make my stuff better, so I can steal lots of stuff and do what creative people do, which is steal lots of stuff. In this particular picture, she's lounging on this nice little couch because Petrafina has a couch inside her ship for some reason, I don't know, so you can lounge around and make lazy on Ralph's stump. The funny thing is, in this particular speed paint, you will see towards the end when I start adding textures to the background. When I add the couch texture to the couch, it kind of makes it look cheaper than I originally planned. And I thought I would kind of roll with it. So at the end, you're going to see that when Velicia's lounging on this couch, she's kind of looking at it and going like, it's okay, I guess. I only know about Flint the Time Detective, and I only watched it because of Digimon. You see, back when I was but a wee tyke in the early mornings of Saturday morning watching my Saturday morning cartoons, there was a big old block of shows that would air on the channel I watched. And eventually, at some point, Digimon would come on. Now, as a kid, I was obsessed with Digimon, and believe me, one day I am going to make a Digimon video. All I knew is that if I got up in the morning, eventually Digimon would come on. So I watched a lot of shows before Digimon, and of course, Digimon would air, and then after, I would just kind of stick around and watch some of the shows anyway. So around those times, the shows that would kind of pop up would be anything from a show called The Kids from Room 402, Monster Rancher. There was a time, really quick, I actually thought Monster Rancher was Digimon, and they were the same show, and I always wondered why Digimon has two different stories. And there was even live action shows I sat through, which is like the two big ones that come to mind are Big Wolf on Campus, and even this weird one, which is called like S Club 7. Anyway, one of those shows that happened to be on around Digimon was Flint the Time Detective. Thus, I ended up watching a lot of it just cuz. Well, so Flint the Time Detective is pretty basic. You got these two kids who find this cave boy because these two kids can time travel because they need to collect time-traveling Pokemon that do time stuff in order to fix the time loop thing. They're like basically Time Squad with kids. Anyway, they find this little cave boy and his cave dad, and things happen, and so the dad turns into stone. They chip away the dad into a tomahawk so that Flint, who's the cave boy, can swing him around and stuff. And of course, you gotta have a villain of the story, and the villain of the story is Petra Fina, and Petra Fina goes around with her two minions, kidnapping the time Pokemon so she can stamp them with her evil stamp and make them evil because she's simping for this like Dark Lord, and so like she's basically serving the Dark Lord to make these time Pokemon evil, and you can kind of see where this series goes. So here we have a character who is being a villain for the sake of recognition as opposed to actual world domination. She has cat themes. She attempts to dress provocatively and be a femme fatale, but ends up being too much of a spaz to actually pull it off. And of course is the goofy villain that is foiled hilariously every time she tries to do something villainous. That basically describes Velicia to a T. It turns out that maybe Velicia was basically me subconsciously remaking Petrafina into a main character in her own cartoon. You know what? That's probably the case. You know, the funny thing is originally, when I made Velicia, she was actually supposed to be What If Wooya but goofy. But apparently, without even thinking about it until very recently, Petrafina really imprinted her demeanor into my young psyche more deeply than I realized, because the similarities are striking. Now, what does this mean for me in SCHNEEEVIL? Well, it means that Petrafina is a really nice blueprint. I can actually go back and watch through Flint the Time Detective, look at Petrafina's scenes, watch her mannerisms, the way she, how goofy she acts, how she sometimes tries to, be more, sophisticated and sexually alluring than she can actually be, because like I said, she's kind of a spaz, much like Velicia. She is this really nice blueprint that I can look back on and probably realize watching through it going like, oh, that's where I got it from. Oh, that's where I got it from. So it's probably going to be one of those kind of disappointing things where it's just like, okay, so apparently Velicia was just secretly Petrafina this whole time and I didn't really acknowledge it until recently. But you know what? That is why I made this Velicia cosplay series to begin with. Well, half the reason. The first half of the reason is to trick you people algorithmically into learning about my OC by making her dress up as characters more popular than her, because I'm a scheming villain, and that's how I maliciously gain popularity for my work. But the second half is that I'm specifically pulling from multiple sources, because good artists borrow, great artists steal. However, you must steal from multiple sources, otherwise you are a hack. I can't just steal from Petrafina. So I'm stealing from everybody. I'm stealing from all the villainesses to make sure that Velicia is a really good character. So I'm half kind of disappointed and half glad that my character Velicia already kind of sort of exists in such a complete package, such as Petra Fina Dagmar. But I bet I can make enough changes, and I feel confident that I already have to make her her own character. So it just goes to show you whether or not it's good or bad that you made something that already exists depends on A, how much you can differentiate it, and I guess B, how much people really even care. Will it work? Will Velicia become a successful character? Will SCHNEEEVIL become a successful cartoon? Well, that only time will tell, because, I still have to make the cartoon, and, I am doing it. But yeah, I guess it's kind of interesting to see that Velicia already exists in one way, shape, or form through Petrafina, and now I can compare and contrast, and in some ways improve, if only to differentiate Velicia from Petrafina, and to kind of make her own thing a little more. So with all that said, I think we'll go ahead and wrap it up there for today, so you people know what to do. If you like what you see and you want to see more, go ahead and tickle those secret buttons. Go ahead and comment down below if you've ever heard of Flint the Time Detective, if you actually like it, or if it was one of those things I glossed over. I would love to hear about it. And of course, share the video, because it's good for you, it's good for me, it's good for the algorithm, and it's good for the show. And of course, this is your reminder that I do have my Patreon Subscribe Star, and we got a new exclusive video coming up this Friday about Robert Crumb, that weirdo. Look him up, he's a really strange guy. In addition to that, of course, if you want to stalk me elsewhere on the internet, you can always hit up my links on the screen at my other social media. And of course, I always emphasize minds.com, because it's one of the cool alternative social medias. And so yes, with all that said, I do thank you for spending this time with me. I do hope you all stick around, and until next time, deuces.